And one thing that I know he relished, one role, was being a former council member. He saw in that an important duty to train the next generation. He reminded me of Mayor Muriel in that way. He had lived it, he had done it, he had moved on to do something else. But he knew that he could provide guidance to those of us who are doing it still. And for that, I am so grateful to Mr. Crawford.
Memory, but the two of us, we had a great time. I said there were 3 enlisted men there. I was in E4. Croft was in E5. And the other guy was in E6. Well, let me promise you, the two of us were in the place. The E6 had a lot of fun. Messing with his mind. So I was asked him, that was an easy victory.
Our city, and exemplified by the day, you know.
Well, clearly, HR had a beautiful and diverse group of friends and people who loved him. I spoke to the congregation a little bit earlier about one role that only a few people will know, and that's how he mentored council members and mayors, and was a wonderful confidant. And he saw as his special duty and role to make sure the next generation of leaders in Washington understood what he understood. The safe and affordable housing is how you create a prosperous Washington.
You said in there, it reminded you almost like a man buried.
Yes.
Man, the people and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I think many people won't realize that Marion, before he died, he took that role, especially with me, very seriously, making sure that I knew what he knew about being mayor. And HR was very similar in that way. In all of my campaigns for council and for mayor.
Just how he set the example as a council member in your life and what's coming to you about. What would you say about HR?
I think HR's leadership was clear, his passion for public service and his desire to help other people. I think what is easy to recognize is somebody who constantly places the needs of others above their own, and I think that really exemplifies HR. And then I think finally his love for the city, where he graduated from DC public schools and served in the federal government. Just really provided an example, and I'm just proud to stand on his shoulders today and be able to look back on all the things that he left for us.
Thank you so much. What did you say about HR and what he meant to our city coming into the era, you know?
Well, the best way to describe him is he was a class act, you know. He was smart, strategic, but he was always so generous and giving of himself. And he knew how to make things happen. And we all knew we needed to close ranks and follow him. So whatever standard he set, it was a high standard. He was a class act.
He is really was a leader in this city that was really, I think his leadership was really underestimated. This guy's been in public service for the last 50 years, serving his ward, serving the city, and serving the region. I think he's an example that young people ought to try to see and emulate.
On the steps, talk about why you wanted to be him as proud.
Because HR, whether he was on camera or off camera, always worked hard for the people and always tried to do something for someone else. And I had to come and say thank you.
What you say about HR was in the realm of Mary Berry and giving back, and you too. I mean, talk about his mandate.
Well, one thing about HR, he was truly a person who believes in this city, always fought on behalf of those who resided in the city, and represented, I think, one of the tremendous leaders in this city. As I think about those who have made a contribution, wanted to see us work as one part of the city, he was a leader in that respect, in every sense of the word.
I agree. He was diverse. He loved whites, black. Talk about that diversity.
Well, HR had his own relationship, I think, with all the elected officials. But HR now and then would call me and say, Tommy, I want you to come over to my office. What's your favorite beer? I'll run out and get you some. And we'd have a beer together, and we'd talk about the city. The last time I heard from HR, he called me about 6 months ago and said, Tommy, there's a man who's a shut-in who needs help. And I didn't say, HR, I'm head of the environment. I don't know, that's what my agency does. But I I didn't say that because I was honored that he called me. And so we took care of it, and that's what HR did. He would call us and say, hey, somebody needs help. He wouldn't call for himself, but he did it through a personal relationship. I liked him very much.